you need to then you need to the right way, or like there's no point in it, basically. So okay, good evening, everybody. Don't
Sorry
call.
about that.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into episode 2 of Kiss Mommy Goodnight podcast. It's your girl Megan Rose. We got the best manager out there behind the camera.
You already
Thank you
know.
so much for all that you do.
Nah, no problem.
Um, he was trying to do his hand clap thing, but he can't find
Couldn't
it in
find.
time.
I'm glad you realized. Damn.
Okay, there you go.
Yo.
Yeah, so I want to say thank you to everybody who watched episode 1. There's a lot of haters out there. No, I'm just kidding. It's a lot of people with constructive criticism, which I appreciate. I do. I may not respond the way you want me to respond when you tell me, but I do appreciate it 100%. And I feel like I'm getting more comfortable on camera, and hopefully I can watch my growth and my metamorphosis, for lack of better words, which that's a pretty good word right there. But I'm feeling really good right now. I'm in a new place, by the grace of God and my late husband Jeremy, who happens to be his birthday right now. And I feel really good in this place. I feel good energy, and I feel good people supporting me, and I'm thankful, and I'm excited for this new journey, this Kiss Mommy Goodnight journey. So yeah, let's get right into it. So one thing I've been seeing on social media that I want to talk about, because that's where I'm gonna get most of my news from. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't really watch the news. It's pretty depressing, and I don't need any help being depressed. Excuse me. You have to cut that out. I lost my voice.
It's cool.
So one thing I've been seeing on social media is your girl Donya Drea, I don't know the rest of her name, but Drea, basketball wife
Drea
Drea.
Michelle.
Drea Michelle, yeah, basketball wife Drea Michelle. And she's pregnant right now by NBA player Jalen Green. He's 22 years old. She's 38 years old, 39 years old. Yeah, she's 39 years old. And so she's pregnant now. There's a lot of controversy. It's her third child. There's a lot of controversy. We had some people talking about it, strangers and stragglers, but some other people more influential, like Joe Budden, have made some comments on social media, kind of bashing Miss Drea Michelle, which I can't say that I approve of anybody bashing anybody else unless it's like a clear cut, like, oh, this person did some wild shit. I can't really approve of that, but I can say I can understand where their opinion is coming from, like the place their opinion is coming from. There is a 17-year age gap. So it is kind of like the question where, what do you see in somebody who is, as Joe Budden brought up, brain is not even developed, which I can understand that anybody under the age of 30 is in a different place than anybody over the age of 30, So it's like a 25-year-old or 23-year-old, 22-year-old is in a completely different place than somebody 35, 36, 37. So a lot of people have said things like she's grooming him because when he got her pregnant, he was 21 and she was 38, which I can understand. I can understand their concerns. That's obviously a crazy situation if it is that, and she's manipulating him or gaslighting him or has some type of control over him. Obviously that's terrible. But we don't know if that's the situation. So we are all just speaking out of our own ass when we speak on celebrities' love life, because no matter what you hear on the media or the news, you really are not there. You don't know 100%, because Drea did have an interview recently, I want to say, where she was talking about how she knows she wants another kid, and she wasn't necessarily talking about having a husband or a life partner. She was just saying she knows she wants another kid, and how she's a non-traditional woman. So if she was to have an agreement with somebody that they can co-parent, and he want a kid, she want a kid, why not? Why not go for it? And maybe that's the situation. So if that is the case, I want to say congratulations to them. good for you both. And I hope you have a healthy, beautiful baby. And I'm gonna mind my fucking business. But if she's grooming him and she got some other shit going on there, then yeah, that's terrible, obviously. But if it's the other case, then more power to them.
So how about on the flip side with males? Drake dating the 21-year-old.
Right. Okay. That's
Lotto's
also
sister. That's Lotto's sister, by the way.
that's Lotto's sister.
Yeah.
Okay. That's also a current situation with Drake. Is the same. The same around age as Drea and the person he's dating. I feel like it's the same way. It's these people 22 years old is yes, their prefrontal lobe is not fully developed, right? Which means your emotional maturity, your decision making, your motivation is not 100% where it's going to be in the next couple years. But you are of legal age to drink, to smoke, to live on your own, to work, to do everything else freely. You're an adult in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of society. You're an adult. So yes, it's weird the age difference. I personally don't see myself dating somebody 17 years older than me or younger than me at this point in my life. That's something else, some shit to talk about in a couple minutes. At this point in my life, but I don't think that Drea or Drake are predators per se. Like I don't think they're doing something morally incorrect. I do think it's like, okay, personally, what do you see in somebody so young? What do you see in somebody so young? I feel like it's different and I'm not trying to be controversial here, but I do feel like it's a little bit different in a emotional standpoint, because we know the scientific findings of men emotionally maturing way later than women. So I can say that it's a little different in that, but even that not really because people are at different places in life, and that's also been. Yeah, so I think that whatever everybody should be able to live their life freely as long as you're not doing something wrong. The age of consent. I think you should even bring it up to 21 at least. At least, but yeah, 22. You just passed that mark, so nobody can really say nothing, honestly. That brings me into why that situation stood out to me is because I had a personal, situation with age gap relationships. Specifically, when I was younger, I dated somebody who was 13 years older than me, um, and it was not a good relationship. It was not a good relationship. I did learn a lot, obviously, because you learn from situations, even if they're negative. But it was not a good relationship. We were at completely different places in our lives, and that could be a controlling situation for the younger person in the situation. So even Drake or Dre's situation, either way, the younger person can be in a situation where they're being controlled or manipulated because the older person is in such a different place in their life, sexually, mentally, physically, children wise, marriage wise, socially, like a different social battery, different amount of energy. And my husband was 6 years older than me, and that wasn't too bad of an age difference because it's even a statistic showing that in marriages with around a 4 year age gap, um, that is a 20% less divorce rate. So I don't know. I like to read statistics when I try to form opinions on stuff because I can have my own thoughts on it, but also there's actual numbers based on how it's affecting everybody else's life. So yeah.
Based on your past relationships, what's something you think you learned from you said you learned negative from negative situations too?
Right.
What's something you learned from that one?
From the 13-year age gap relationship, I learned that somebody under the age of 30 years old is at a very completely different place than somebody over the age of 30 years old. Um, you know, going with, like Joe Biden said, your brain is not fully developed, so you think differently. You think differently. You're at different places. A younger person is gonna want to go out more, experience more. After the age of 30, of course, you have so much more to experience, but you also are a little more settled into your personality. You're a little more settled into your life, into your career, possibly into what you want for your future. So you're in very different places. And also, I think anybody who's dating somebody so much older than them, if they're 18, 17, 19, and this person is 10 years older than them, 12 years older than them, 13 years older than them, I do feel like that's still young. If your age has the word teen after it, even if you are legally able to consent, I feel like it's weird. I feel like it's weird, and that person might be a predator. Um, and I feel like people need to date within, 3, 4 years of their age. I feel like that's good enough. It's good. It's good to maybe get some experience, but nah, you don't need it. It's not necessary for your life. It's not something. It's not something you need to do, especially not under the age of 30. Stay within your age range. If they're in a completely different place than you, and it could turn out really negative. Okay, so with all of that being said, I'm not gonna spill too much milk on this episode, but I said what I had to say about the age gap shit. How I feel about it, how it pertains to me. I want to move on to my next segment, Mommy Knows Best, which which is where I give advice or tips or honestly just me pulling anything that I feel like talking about, and I feel like I want other people to know how I feel about the subject. And I'm gonna share it with y'all, and hopefully in the future it could be something where I get some interaction and people tell me what they want to hear from me, or even commenting on what I said last, and I could touch back on some topics, whatever. But
If you guys have any questions, leave comments.
right,
Like if you have any questions you want Meg to address on the next
yeah,
episode,
leave comments. Guess Mommy Goodnight. We got my manager got everything up and running, and he's keeping everything updated. So you ask questions, he will definitely let me know, and I will personally answer it, of course, obviously in the next episode or whatever. But so all this age gap talk, it got me thinking a lot about my sex life and my past relationships, which have been with people with an age gap. And one of the things I could take away from all of my relationships is that the best thing for anybody's sex life, whether you have a 13-year age gap, a 6-year age gap, or no age gap at all, is to communicate with your partner. And if you're somebody who's more outspoken and you're more comfortable speaking about what you like, what you don't like, and they're not, then you need to ask them, because you need to know what they like and don't like. Because a lot of time, people is faking it, and you be with somebody for years and not even know what the fuck you doing, and if you're making them feel good or not. And of course, a relationship is not based off of sex, but sex is so important for a good relationship. If you don't have no sexual chemistry with somebody, and you're not making each other feel good, and you don't have no healthy release of all that tension building up from paying your bills and fucking keeping your house together and keeping your kids sheltered and fed, like, you need to fuck. You need to fuck each other, and you need to fuck each other the right way, or like, there's no point in fucking each other, basically. So
What do you think is an amount of time like a seasoned couple should be having sex on a regular to
So
keep
I
that?
think that's such a black and white question, because it really depends on their situation. Like, if you have small children, the age of your children, I think, is a situation. If you have small children, it's way harder to find the right time, even if you have your kids on a best bedtime routine, because first of all, you don't want to wake them the fuck up, and you don't want them to wake up and fuck it up. You don't want them to walk in on you. You don't want you know that they wake up every 2-3 hours. So it does affect your sex life, especially your exhaustion. It depends, but I think, let's just say everything is running smoothly, everybody in your house sleep at night, and you have a regular amount of energy. I would say like 2 times a week on a regular week. If you have a little more time that week, maybe 3, 4. But if it's a busy week, it might be one, and I don't feel like there's nothing. You might skip a week. I don't feel like there's nothing wrong with that if both parties are mutually, and like if we're both exhausted and we're both laying in bed, then I don't think there's nothing wrong with us skipping a couple nights. And there's so many other ways to be intimate without having sex. So that's important, like to be intimate with your partner in between sexual experiences. That's so important to have intimacy, like, for your man to kiss you in the back of your neck while you're doing the dishes, or, you've been working all week and cooking dinner all night and, like, smack her ass a little bit. Like, that keeps that shit going. So the next. Good evening, everybody. It's your girl, Megan Rose, aka Meg LaDon. Thank you so much for tuning in. But it has to be a mutual thing. Like, it can't be like, like this. That's where it gets into weird vibes, because people don't realize that even in a relationship, you can pressure your partner and you can make your partner feel uncomfortable sexually. So it's like, I could be with you for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. If I'm not feeling it and I say no and you pushing up on me, that's uncomfortable. It doesn't matter how long we've been together. That's something a lot of people don't understand. So mutual is so important. Like, we both have to want it. We both have to want it. And if one of us don't want it, we both don't want it, then we should not be having sex. Because then that means you're like either persuading or pressuring somebody to have sex with you. So which I have to understand is you cannot do that. The best way, you want to get your partner horny so they want to fuck you too. So you have to have intimacy throughout your day, throughout your regular schedule. That's why I say you kiss them on the back of the neck, grab their butt, like pull their hair real quick, like little shit throughout the day.
You gotta know your partner's love language, like that. Times like that.
Right, you have to know your partner's love language. Like, oh, my girl, I know my girl. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I personally, when I can speak about my husband, certain things that he would do throughout the week would get me going. Like, okay, we had a busy week, but I saw you put up some shelves earlier, and I saw you fucking feeding your daughter some food. Like, that's sexy. Like, you're a grown man and you're taking care of your household, you take care of your kids. Like, you might think it's all about, like, doing something spicy, when it could also you just be handling your responsibilities as the role that you play in your household, and that shit is sexy already as it is. And then you add in a little shit like you complimenting your partner throughout the week, or you send a little text message, you send a little picture, and let's say we haven't had time to have sex in a week. All right, we lay in bed, we're exhausted, we're going to sleep. So, like, you send a picture. The next morning we wake up, I'm gonna send you a picture. That's gonna The next time we have the time and the energy to interact is gonna be 10 times better, because we've been tempting each other and seducing each other and flirting with each other. You got to keep that shit alive. That shit doesn't just die out because you got somebody. When you're dating somebody, you do all that extra shit. You want to do something to make them have a little extra attention in these areas. So you still got to do the same thing. And it's different now because you know your partner. So you should be able to do those things easier. Basically, just interact throughout the week. Intimacy can translate in so many different ways. But yeah, I think that's very important. Mommy knows best, so you gotta listen to me. Basically, do sexy things, flirt with your partner, grab their ass, pull their hair, cook them some dinner, put them shelves up that your girl may ask you to put up for 2 months. Mount that TV that you've been supposed to mount in, like little shit like that. You keep the household flowing. You take tasks out of people's hands. They have the energy to be horny, because I can't be horny if I'm fucking cooking 3 meals a day and sweeping, mopping, raising kids, working and going to school. I don't even have time to be horny. So you might have to help your partner out in other areas if you want them to have the time to even feel these other emotions anyways. So
yeah, even with kids, you have to, make time for yourselves.
You gotta make time.
Go out on that date, find time.
I agree. Find somebody you trust to watch your kids, and go out. And if you really don't, then put your kids to sleep, get them on a bedtime routine, and cook some dinner, light a candle, and make that shit sexy at home, because sometimes people really, really, really don't have that outside support. So yeah, you can make it happen. You can make it happen either way. And with that being said, make it happen. And I love everybody. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys watching my podcast. Kiss Mommy Goodnight. Follow us everywhere. Share, like, share again. Tell your mommy, your auntie, because you know that's for mommies, aunties, daddies, cousins, all that. This is that type of podcast. And thank you so much. I appreciate it. Keep watching. It's only gonna get better. I sneezed so bad. I was holding in that sneeze for like 10 minutes.